So, hello again, and welcome again to another session of discovering yoga, getting some explanations and ease in going to the postures, and really an understanding. If we understand the body, its connection to chi, its connection to the toes, to the fingers, it's going to make it much easier. If we can understand the shape of the bones and how that affects the body, is also going to make us understand and make it much easier for us to learn. So I showed you one with the knee, now I'm going to show you one with the spine. And so I'm really looking at this for spinal twists and twisting the body. And you can see when I hold the skeleton that what's twisting is all the upper body. If I hold the neck, it twists much more. There's much more twisting in the upper body, in the neck, than there is in the thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine is actually moving. But you see in the lumbar, there's very little movement in the lumbar. Okay? And so this is because of the shape of the bones. And so we have to understand that. Very little movement in the lumbar spine, maybe 5% one way, 5% the other. So 10% of movement. In the thoracic spine, we can actually move 45% and 45%, on average. It could be more, it could be less, depending on each person's ability. And then the cervical spine is generally 90 and 90. And again, this can be much more, or some people very less. You see people with injured necks and they walk around and they want to turn, someone says, "Hey, hi," and they turn around and the whole everything moves. The head doesn't move, the shoulders move, because their neck is fused together, the bones are fused. But for a child, it's very easy to turn the head. And I've actually seen videos on YouTube where someone's turned the head and basically look the other way, turn the whole, amazing. It's like, what? Anyway, so let's understand why. But when we look at the skeleton, I'm going to get closer. But if we look at the shape of the bones in the lumbar, you can see that the bone here comes down, it points down and rests against the bone below it. So there's this blockage from a moving sideways, very much blocked there. If we come up higher to the thoracic spine, you can see that this angle is much less. So that's why the ability to move is there, because there's less hindrance, and the higher you go up, the more flat it becomes. So we don't have these sides down here lifting up, basically walls shaped like this pressing against the other one. This is the lumbar spine. The thoracic spine is much less, so there's more ability to slide. And into the cervical spine, you can see it's pretty much flat. So it's very much, the ability to turn is much better, especially on the top. Look at that. Top, very much easy to slide because it's on a flat surface. Okay, so this is what we're looking at in the shape of a bone, is really the way one vertebrae fits in our bone. This is what our body can do in movement. The muscles we require to move in the lumbar spine, there's very little muscles to move sideways. So the muscles we're actually going to use to move a spinal twist from the lumbar is actually the psoas and all the groin muscles. You contract one side and the other, and the body will move. And the bones, even though they're fused together, there's going to be this little 5-degree movement. We can also understand that we can increase this movement. We can make it 10 degrees, or we can make it 0 in the lumbar spine. Very simply, if we do a back bend, so now we're here and we do a back bend, we actually press these bones deeper down, and they press hard against their lower bone, the bone that's below. As we press down, it actually presses into it. And so that means there's no movement. We're actually compressed bone against bone. There's going to be no movement. So you don't want to be doing a back bend to create a lumbar twist, or any back bend. You don't want the lumbar to compress. You don't want bones compressing together, because they won't move, they'll block. People do that and they go, "Oh, that feels good, I'm really doing a nice twist." really feel the twist. But actually we're not twisting at all, we're just feeling the compression of the bones, and it feels good. But there's no twist. It just feels like there's a twist. If we release the tailbone, so now we come here and we pull the tailbone down, we actually create a slight forward bend and lift these bones. So by bringing the tailbone down, we actually do a slight forward bend. There's a little space, and it actually allows us to go another 5 degrees. Whereas a back bend, we compress, there is no movement. It's important to understand that doing spinal twists, it's a forward bend and a twist in the lumbar spine. Okay, so we're going to create much more twisting, bending forward. Back bend is just, oh, I'm doing a twist, I can really feel it. But lumbar, you go much further. So tuck the tailbone, create that space in the spine. And the same goes for the thoracic spine. We need to find out where bones are compressing or releasing. So the thoracic spine is different. It's a S-curve. So there's no great one rule. We've got to do this back bend, twist, or a forward bend and twist. It's a kind of a combination of the two. You can move up and you feel when it compresses, you release forward, release it. And you can actually feel the body release and move. And so in twisting, it's done with each breath. But when I'm doing a twist, I breathe in, exhale, lower dantian, tailbone down, and then I twist. Then I breathe in, relax. And then I do it again, exhale, tailbone, twist. Breathe in, relax. Exhale, tailbone, twist. So what I'm actually doing with each breath, each inhalation, I back off just a little bit. Exhale, twist. Go a little deeper, back off a little bit. And exhale, twist. And this is because now I'm going to use my breath to create expansion. I want something to bring the bones apart, to separate the bones. And my lungs are like a balloon. They're going to expand. And as they expand, they lift the bones apart from each other. The bones separate a little bit. And once I've got that separation, from inhalation, then exhale, move a little more. Relax, breathe in. Exhale, move a little more. So I'm very much using the breath. If I stay deep in the posture, which is what happens to a lot of people, I get so deep, and then you're going, you can't breathe. So you need to back off. Let the breath expand you. Then once the expansion is there, you move from the space created by the breathing. And then you allow yourself to breathe again. No breath, no expansion, no movement, no chi, totally blocked. It's not yoga. So make sure chi can flow. Hopefully this helps you out understanding the anatomy of the vertebrae for spinal twists. Thank you.